Hello everyone, this is Kenneth Brandy from Tech, and welcome back to the channel. So in this series of videos, we are learning Python, and this is specifically SENG 207 Programming for Engineers, a course taught at the University of Ghana. So if you have been following along, we have this particular structure we have been going through, and this has been put together like the chapters of a book. So currently we're on chapter 20, where we are discussing Python modules, and this is going to be the second video in Python modules. So let me collapse this so that we have a much wider slate over here. Now in the first video we looked at inbuilt modules, and these are just a few of them where we import these modules, and these are basically some code written down where we are trying to use them in this Python file over here. Now somebody might be wondering, where exactly are these codes? Now if you are using VS Code and you have your system set up the way I have over here, now when you do a control, or at least when you click on your control key and hover your mouse around this, now this get pass becomes something like a clickable link, so you can actually click on this. Now when you click on this, you see that we have this getpass.py. now clearly we haven't written any code as getpass.py in our directory over here. So basically this is the code, okay, and that's why I'm saying that a Python module is a piece of code that is imported. So currently you can see that we are importing this getPass over here. Now the question is, where exactly is this code coming from? Now if you look through this, okay, you can see that I have my C drive over here, I have users, and this is my name, and this updater, this is a local program, Python 3.11, whatever the library, and inside of this I have getPass. You don't need to worry so much about this, but basically when we downloaded Python onto our system, the Python engine came with some code, just as we have print and other functions we could use. This getPass was also part of it. Now when you scroll through, and let me scroll to the very bottom, you can see that I have 185 lines of code just for this getPass module, or this getPass piece of code, and the number of things you can do over here. You can spend time to read everything you see over here, and you can see that these are some of the things that has already been written for you, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You just have to import it and use it over here. Now when I do same thing, and for instance hover my mouse around keyword and click on this, I also get a number of these things showing up over here. So you can see that here are the KW lists, which when we try printing out, we see each and every one over here. And you can see that I have soft KW list over here. Then there are some few things you can see over here. Now the same thing applies to the math module we have over here. When I do a control and click on this, you see that there's a code behind the math module, and these codes are already written for us. We just have to learn how to use them. So you could see that within the math module we have a number of things over here. So I think this is what I showed in the first video, where we were looking at the, I think, no, that was a prod, but then there's like a par, so PW. So when I hover my mouse around this, it says this function actually returns x power y, so x to the power y, as you can see over here. And you can actually learn a lot by just going through this. So for instance, if you are working with sine, doing something on trigonometry, these are the things you need. At least you get all of them from the math module, as you can see over here. So these are the codes that's already written for us, and we are using them over here. Now let me close these ones because we have the information now. So these are the codes. Now in this second part of the video, we're actually going to look at how we can write our own code and import it in another code for us to use as a module. Okay, so having done this, now let's move on to custom modules. Now the knowledge we are going to have in custom modules, we are going to make inferences to whatever things we discuss over here, and a lot of these things are going to make sense now. So now this is what I have over here with this particular image. Remember, the whole concept of modules is we having some Python code in some file and using it in another file. So let's assume we have, and of course I've created these folders, so I expect you to do same. I'm going to show you. So we have these folders over here, and the first one we have over here is the SENG folder. So we have this SENG folder over here. Now inside of the SENG folder we have this subfolder, which is the math function folder, and then we have this file, which is the management information system.py file. Let me show you. That's exactly what we see over here. Then we also have inside of the math function folder these two Python files. So for instance, we have addition.py and formula.py. Everything showing up over here are examples of code we have written in the past. So we are going to see how we import them in a different Python file and work with our modules. On my desktop, I've created a folder and I've named it module. Now, when I open up this folder, you could see that I have this SENG folder in here, and I have management underscore information system. There's a Python file. Now, when I open this, I have this math function inside of SENG. So you could see that that's the level of the directory I have over here. Now, if I further open this, I now have addition.py and also formula.py. So I'm going to open this up in VS Code. So here I have VS Code open, and let me just click on this open folder over here. You can either click on this or you can click on file and come to open folder. It's the same thing. There's a shortcut over here, Control K, Control O. So now I'll click on this and I'll navigate through to my desktop. So the folder, the modules folder is on desktop, and that's what we have showing up over here. So I'll click on this, and after selecting this, I would want to select this folder. So I'll click on select folder. So now we have the folder selected over here. Good. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click outside of this. Okay, so anywhere outside. Then I'll create a new file. I'm going to call this app.py. So I'm going to work in app.py, and for which reason I would want to import the code, for instance, inside of this management information system.py in here and work with it, because that's basically what we're doing with the first video. So before we even do so, let's just go into this file and see exactly what we have over here. And primarily what we have over here is the code we had in the mis.py, I mean the student mis application we wrote. So we defined a class person. We have some methods over here, full name and name initials. Then we have the student class, which is inheriting from the base or the parent class person. And we are setting new attributes, for instance, hall and courses over here. And this is exactly what we covered in the MIS videos. So please go and watch them. And we have also created another, or I have also created another variable over here, which is course underscore title, and I'm setting this up to programming for engineers. Now this, as we have over here, clearly you can see that this is a global variable because it is not within the confines of any class or any method over here. So this is a global variable. That means we can access it in any part of our code. So let me close this, and now let's go into, for instance, when I move into SENG, I have this math function over here. And over here, you can see that I have addition.py. Now, when I open up addition.py, this is just a function. And over here, I have numbers underscore addition. And in here, you can pass in a number of numbers, okay? And this is just going to return the total. So in other videos, when we're dealing with loops, we actually looked at this particular example. So this is also something covered in previous videos. Now, finally, let's move on and check what we have in formula.py. Now we have quite a number of functions over here, and this is basically everything we've covered so far. So for instance, we have this addition function where we are passing two parameters x and y, and we are performing an arithmetic operation over here. In this case, it is addition. So as you can see, we have the addition arithmetic operator over here, and we are assigning everything we have in here into the variable z, and we would want to return sum is equal to whichever numbers the sum we pass over here. The same thing is happening in subtraction over here. So you could see that the arithmetic operation over here is subtraction. Now we have product, the arithmetic operation is product, and now we have this division showing up over here, and finally we have modulos. Okay, so these are the functions. Now in here as well, I also have this variable which I'm setting course code is equal to 207. All right, so these are things we've done in the past, and we are just going to see how we manipulate our way around using the code. For instance, we have in this Python file and run it over here. So now let's start with what we have. Now let me just collapse this, and remember there are directory levels as I stated. So currently you could see that this app.py is in the same directory level as SENG and also as this management information system.py we have over here. Good. Now this is what I'm going to do. The first thing I would want to do is I would want to get this, for instance, this course title, and print it out here. All right, so this is what I can do. I can say from management information system, okay, and you could see that I have this curly bracket over here, and when I click on this, I don't need to do a .py over here. When I do from management underscore information underscore system, this is good to go. I can now say import, and what do I want to import? I want to import the course title. So there's a variable, so I can say import, and I'll just type in course title. Now clearly you can see that if you are doing things right, the lookup actually helps you navigate your way through. So this is very simple. So from the management information system.py, import course title, and now I can simply come in here and print out the course title variable I have imported over here. So now when I run my code, indeed I do get this programming for engineers, and that's exactly the course title I have saved in this variable course title. So programming for engineers. Let me run that again, and I have programming for engineers. If I'm to come in here and say programming for engineers, and I say level 200, I've updated the course title, and once again when I come and run this, you can see that I have programming for engineers level 200. So everything is looking good. All right, so let's now draw inferences to something we did in the last video. And in the last video we imported something from the math module called pi, and pi was a constant. So I can see, or what we did actually was we did something like from math we imported pi, and now let's try and mirror this together. Now when I hover around this, I see that there's a module. That's good. Now when I hover around my management information system, I also see that there's a module. And once again, when I hover around pi, it tells me that pi is a variable. And when I hover around this my course title, it tells me that this course title is a variable. So basically, if you are to come in here and try printing out pi, I'll save this and I'll run this. You could see that first of all I have my course title printed out over here, and I also have the value of pi showing up over here. So this is similar to what we did, just that in the case of this math model we didn't write it. These are inbuilt modules for us, and these are the custom ones we are building and trying to navigate our way through. All right, now there's also one thing I would want to show. So this is something we need to know. Now let me just clear what I have over here and show you this. Now instead of saying from management information system as we have over here, I can simply do something like this: import management information system. So now when I do this import management information system, my point of entry is actually this management information system. Okay, and now I can now go through management information system to, for instance, get this course title. And remember what I said about the dot operator. The dot operator is whenever you use the dot operator, it's as if you want to go into it. So for instance, I can now do management information system, and whenever I do a dot, I want to go into this management information system, and I now have access to the course title showing up over here. So this is another way of doing it. And now if I'm to wrap this up in a print function and run this, clearly you could see that, let me run it again. Clearly you could see that I have the programming for engineers level 200 over here. Let me come back and now revert back to programming, just programming for engineers. I'm clearing the level 200. Now when I run this, I do get programming for engineers over here. So once again, we imported everything from this management information system over here. And now that's our point of entry. So based on our point of entry, we want to go into it. And that's why we are using the dot operator. That's the same thing we did when we're dealing with our methods. Okay, so something dot, that means you want to go into it and get something inside of it. And that's exactly what you have over here. So we have management information system dot, we are going into it and want to get course title, because indeed course title is over here. Good. Now there's another thing I would want to show, which is very important. Now what we have over here simply means anytime you want to go into the management information system, you need to be typing this over and over and over again, and that can be quite a daunting task. Now to get our way around it, we can give this an alias. So I can say import management underscore information underscore system as, for instance, let's say MIS. So the moment I do import whatever thing I've imported as MIS, now clearly you can see that I have a problem over here. Okay, and it says this management underscore information underscore system is not defined because we have given it an alias. So this is a new name representing this whole thing we have over here. So instead of writing this whole thing, I can now simply do MIS dot, and I want to go into MIS, and MIS is an alias for this management information system. So now when I save this and run my code, I still have this showing up over here because what I have is same as what I see over here. Good. So now let's see. Now there are other things we have over here, and we've already looked at this. So for instance, I would want to create an object person from this person class, and that's also very simple. Based on what we have up until this point, we have imported this as MIS, and now I want to go into this MIS and get an object from this. So now this is what I can do. I can simply do this. I can create a person object. So let's say person1 is equal to, and in order to go into MIS, I need to first of all start from MIS and do, for instance, dot. When I do a dot, I want to go into this management information system file, and here I have person over here. So inside of this person down, I pass in these attributes that I need to set over there. Now trust me, if you are doing the right things, you see that the lookup is actually also going to help you. So over here, I'm going to say Kwame, then I'll do a comma, and I'll say Nkrumah, and I'll do a comma, and for the age, I'll say 20. So now I've created a person object out of this person class, but then this person class was inside of a folder, a file called the management information system file, and I needed to import this as a module and give it an alias over here. So currently, if I'm to print out, for instance, person1.email, this we covered in the MIS video. Now when I run this, I do get k.nkrumah@ug.edu.gh. So this is looking good. Now let's look at other examples, and that's why I have these addition and formula files showing up over here. So in order to also work our way through, there are a number of ways we can do this. So now we are still in, and let me just close this. We are still in app.py. That's the file we are working with, and we want to, for instance, get some of the formula we have over here. So for instance, we want to get this addition function inside of this app.py and use it as a module. So now we are going to import this. So now see what I'm going to do. I want to go into SENG because this particular thing we have over here, this formula.py, is in SENG, but then also in this particular math.function, and that's why I showed it up over here. So currently the formula is in this file, but then before we go through this, we need to first come into SENG, then navigate our way through math function before we can get here. So in order to do so, I can say from this SENG module over here, I want to go into it and go into the math function. So I'm now here I want to go into math function. So now I'll do a dot and it will take me here. So currently if I do a dot, you can see that I have this math function showing up over here. So I can select this. And once again, I'm in this math function folder. I want to go and grab this. So I can also do another dot and get into my my formula.py over here. And I can do a dot. And you can see that I have addition and formula over here. It is addition that I want. And now that I'm in addition, this is now my entry point. So within this, I can simply import addition over here. And this is what I'm going to do. So I can say import. And as you can see, I have addition showing up over here. So this is looking good. So now let me just call this addition function as we have over here. And because I'm returning, I would want to wrap everything up in a print function in order for me to see. So I can say print, and inside of this, I'll call this addition, and I'll pass in 4,7. So I'm expecting the sum of these two numbers over here. And now when I run this, I get sum is equal to 11 showing up over here. So everything is looking good. Now what if I also want to get maybe the product and the subtraction? We all have them over here. So I can simply do a comma, just as I did with the other video. The first video in this particular chapter, where I was importing prod and the pi constant all from the math module. So over here, we have everything in formula. So I can do addition, comma, and for instance, I can do products over here. And in order to use products, I can simply do a print, and I'm just going to use the product function I've imported over here. And this time around, I'm going to say 6,9. And let me comment what I have over here. So now when I run this, I do get product is equal to 54, because indeed 6 times 9 is 54, as we have over here. So everything is looking good. Now there's also another way of working our way around this. Of course, there are several ways of killing a cat, and this is what we can do. Now instead of doing everything, importing them one after the other, you can actually import everything by just bringing in a star. So when I do from seng.mathfunction.formula, once again, whenever you see a dot, we are going into something. So SENG, we are going into SENG. We have math function over there. We are going into math function. We have this formula.py over here. Then we are going into it and want to import everything inside of this math formula. So everything is going to be imported over here, which also includes the variable I have over here as course code. So now I can simply do this. Now because I've imported everything over here, I can simply do a print, and I'm just going to call my course code over here. So now when I save this and run this, I get 207, because indeed that's the value I have saved in the variable course code. Let me show you another one. I can bring in the modulus method over here, and I'll just pass in two numbers. So let's say 11,5. So this is basically 11 mod 5. And all that I need to do in order for this to be printed in my terminal is to wrap everything I have over here in a print function. Now I'm going to comment what I have over here. And now if I run this, I do get the modulus is equal to 1, because indeed 11 mod 5 is 1. 5 will go into 11 2 times, which is 10. Remember, 1. And that's what we see printed out over here. So when we do this star, it means you want to import everything and use it. But then I always encourage students not to be doing this star, because once you do this, it becomes very difficult for anybody reading your code to know exactly what functions or the kind of classes you are working with. So in the first example, you saw me show an example where we are actually importing a class, where we are using a class. And in this particular one, I'm showing you examples where we are using a function and also using a constant variable in there. So you can try with your own examples with the other functions we have over here. Now let's look at what we have. And there's also another file inside of this math function folder. So it is within the same directory as formula. So what I can do in here is I can say from seng.mathfunction, dot for instance, addition. I would want to import, and this time around, my point of entry is the addition.py. So now I'm already in addition.py. So I just want to import this function I have over here, which is numbers underscore addition. So I can say I would want to import numbers underscore addition. So this is my method, or sorry, my function over here. And all that I can do is I can now use its numbers underscore addition and pass in some numbers over here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And if I'm to put this up in a print function, and let me comment what I have over here and run this, I get the sum of all the numbers I have over here is 10, because indeed 4 plus 3 is 7, then 7 plus 2 is 9, then 9 plus 1 is indeed 10. And that's basically the logic we have over here. So this, I think we did in one of the videos in some of the chapters over here. So this is we using modules. Now this is very important, and I know upon first glance is going to look a little bit confusing, but trust me, it's very simple. Just know where you are going and how you import and things of that sort. But basically, the dot operator, as we have used over here and also in other examples, basically means we want to go into it. So when we go into math, I mean the SENG folder, we have this math function. When we go into math function, we have this formula, and in this case I'm showing a shortcut where we are importing all. But like I said, this may not be very useful if you want your code to be readable. Then in this case, we are also importing this numbers addition. So this is going to be the end of this video. Now, if I find value in the content I'm putting out over here, kindly support my work by subscribing to the Cambro Tech channel. Also, don't forget to hit on the notification button so that anytime I release a video, you'll be duly notified. Share this video with friends and family who find this content very useful. At Cambro Tech, we say learn programming. You can do it. Bye bye, and catch you in the next video.